Hello guys, this is a recap video on our first steps, our first approach to data frame. You have read and learned many different external files that you can read into a data frame. So this is an example of reading a CSV file, a comma-separated value file, and how to have a first look into the data. So you do a head, you get the first lines, and then with column names, you can get the first, the column names of that data frame, and also str of the F that you get this structure, so you know that R has read the first and the second data as an int vector and the other ones as numeric. In this example, we don't have booleans or characters, but you could have all these different types or different vectors as well as in our data frame. So commands to remember so far: read CSV, head, call names, and stuff. Then for numeric columns, if you just throw summary, your data frame into summary, you get the basic statistics for all the numeric variables. What can you do for non-numeric or categorical variables? We see in this data set that we have the variable group, and we can do something like table, that we get the frequency table, and we can plot a graph as well. So we should add to our list summary, table, and bar plot. Although we can calculate the mean and the median to everybody, or even the summary, and the summary statistics give all the summary statistics for the whole data set, sometimes life is a bit harder and we have to analyze things by different groups. So meaning that the rows they belong to different groups. In this case, group 1, that you know, it's individual treatment, control group number 2, and then 3 is the family treatment. And if we want to do that, we need to do an aggregate. Aggregate is like a pivot table that you get from Excel and help us to pass whoever columns we want to apply it to, the list of those are the columns we want to apply to. This is the actual groups we want to apply to, break it by group, and this is the metric we want to get after doing this pivot table. So we get all the columns we want, tell which column is the one that holds the groups, and this one is the metric. So we get the mean here. This is the aggregate function, very powerful to do tabular analysis. And this one, the median. And so we should aggregate the aggregate measure here in our summary list of commands. Although during the last classes and during this video, I had to apply some selections to the data frame, like this one that selects the group column and all rows, because I'm not mentioning any row here, and the group column, or I'm actually getting the group column here with a different notation, or in this case, I'm getting the row number 1 with all columns here. Although you can see here that maybe here and there some selection has appeared, don't worry, because we're going to be doing a lot of more selections later in the course. And we've seen for the first time maybe a graph appearing and some stats appearing. Don't worry, we're going to learn more graphs. We're going to learn a little bit more advanced statistics as well compared to the ones we've seen. This one was just introduction to data frame in a very practical way. And we're going to be doing data cleaning later in the course as well, and finally doing machine learning with R, with all the intention of allowing you guys to apply what you're learning from machine learning and stats in here in R. So as you're going to be seeing in the Kahoot, the data frame structure, I'm going to mention here that data frame structure is basically one of the most powerful data structure for data science right now. A data frame is basically a data structure of a list, or if you like, it is a list of vectors, and each vector can be of different types. So this is a Boolean, for example, this one is for characters, this one is double, and you can have integers and so on and so forth. How do I prove it to you? So if I run class df for the example data frame that we're working, and I'm gonna get that the whole thing is a data frame class. However, if I ask that what's the type of a data frame, it's gonna tell me that it's the list. It's a list. Yes, it's a list. Because if I get the first column, the column group, it tells me it's an integer. So what am I getting here? I'm getting a vector. And if I ask for the second column, I'm getting a numeric. That's the second column is a numeric. It's a vector full of numeric numbers, or decimal, if you like. So a data frame is a data structure, a class called data frame, that is basically a list of elements, and every element in every position, what you get is a different vector. So when you ask for the first column, what you get is a simple vector. You out of the data frame, you're working on a normal vector. So that's why it was so important to learn all the data structures that we've learned so far, because now you know what's an integer, what's a list, and what's a vector. Because everything here is present in the most powerful data structure. Because it's flexible, it uses lists and vectors for selecting columns and rows. We're going to learn that in the future. And also implements the 3 V's of big data. Variety, because each column can be of a different type. Velocity, because it uses one of the fastest data structure. The fastest data structure is a simple vector because it's all data is in a single type. So every column is a different type, variety, but every column is really fast because it's the single type. That's velocity. And volume, well, here is a big issue because it must fit in your memory plus your disk, because it's not distributed as a Spark RDD that you're going to learn when you learn Spark and RDD distributed computing. But so far it's one of the most powerful because it implements the 3 V's and is very flexible. So you're going to be learning more about data frames and using a lot of data frames from now on. This was Manoel Gadi, first steps recap session in our program, i.e. School of Human Science and Technology.